Right, well, just firstly to introduce myself, my name is Ibrahim Atta, Apau, and I manage the BIM practice and systems integration and technology for Atkins Middle East. And BIM is actually central to a lot of what we do in Atkins, and bearing in mind that at this moment in time in the region where we're challenged with economic challenges, it's estimated that budget spending will reach 1.2 billion, capital spending in Oman will reach 1.2 billion Omani riyals in 2017, or the equivalent of 3.1 billion US dollars. Now, with reductions in budget spending, it's important that efficiencies are gained through how we develop and complete our projects. And we believe that BIM is a central part of that, an important part of enabling us to achieve those efficiencies. And we recognized and realized this through our involvement in the UK, where the Level 2 BIM mandate, which has mandated all government projects to use BIM technologies and processes, has actually developed and delivered £840 million of savings in the industry. Now, for my presentation, what I'll go on to talk about is how we can actually implement BIM to drive these benefits, because simply doing a BIM project does not guarantee you success, as was alluded in the previous presentation. It takes discipline and it takes process. So I'll be talking about that and explaining or sharing ideas on how we can achieve that. I'll also look at how technology can be used to unlock the benefits of BIM, and we'll be sharing some of the ideas and technologies that we're currently using in our business. So firstly, what is building information modeling? It's important to think of BIM, or building information modeling, as building as a verb, as something we're actually doing to inform and make better decision making throughout the design process. And it's also a methodology, not an application. So it's about combining people, processes, and technology to develop better results. So it's not just about the modeling technology. And as I mentioned earlier, in Atkins, BIM is actually central to what we do. We've been doing it for the last 10 years. Currently, we are the lead designers for a design joint venture for the Riyadh Metro, as you can see here on the top left, where we're integrating the designs for architecture, structures, and MEP. Across various design offices, we're working with a number of partners to integrate and deliver that design, and we're also working in collaboration with our contractors. These points are very important, as I'll go on to explain later. And in the bottom right, there's a picture there of our model for the Dubai Opera House, which is a 2,000-seater opera house that opened last month in Dubai, and we actually won a BIM Tekla Award for this model. So the benefits of BIM, when people think of BIM initially, they think of the 3D modeling and the clash detection abilities that it offers. But the benefits are far deeper than that, from improved value engineering to construction planning, safe methodologies and working safety analysis, to cost and schedule analysis, and most importantly, improved asset management and operation and maintenance planning and life cycle cost reduction. These benefits are essential to driving those efficiencies I mentioned earlier. So, but is that enough? Is it enough just to say we're using BIM? Well, our experience on projects, 10 years of experience in projects, which in Oman we've also delivered 7 years ago. We did the bank Muscat HQ project, where we learnt a lot about BIM in this region, I believe can be illustrated through a story that I'm about to tell of two different approaches to implementing BIM. So there's two different companies, both decide to utilize BIM on their project, similar projects. You could say a hotel, leisure hotel development, luxury hotel development there. And company A takes an approach where they hire a design consultant and they tell the design consultant, we want BIM. And the consultant says, well, what would you like? What are your specific requirements? And they say, well, you're the expert, give me BIM, I want BIM on my project. So the consultant goes along and implements BIM based on his company standards. The challenge there is that the client or company A also has other consultants on the project, and they have their own standards, or in some cases, they have no capability. So what happens is there's an inconsistency in processes, inconsistency in design, inconsistency in the models, which causes more clashes to be resolved during the design process. So that's the first cost that the client, company A, suffers. They then go out to tender, and they go out on a construction project. We tend to have a lot of design bid builds. So they go out to contract with a contractor. Contractor comes on board, looks at the models and says, well, these are design models, these aren't construction models, I can't use them. So what does the contractor do? They remodel, they completely redevelop the construction models. And again, it's an abortive cost that is bared either by by company A in this instance, or it goes into dispute. Then their supply chain. They issue it to the supply chain, but the capabilities, again, as was seen in the design phase, the capabilities are not widespread across the contractor or the subcontractors. And most importantly here, what ends up happening is the construction modeling sequence goes out of sync with what is actually happening on site. So they decide, we're going to abandon the idea of using these construction models for the actual construction purposes. We'll address it after we've completed our commission, and that's what happens. So then they complete their commission, they hand over these models, which are meant to be validated against the actual construction, but there's discrepancies, and these are found by the facilities management company, who then lose confidence in this model and don't use it. So ultimately, what happens is all the benefits that was meant to resolve, less disputes, lower cost, have not been realized. And it leaves company A feeling a bit disillusioned with the benefits of BIM. Now, this may seem like quite a dour story, but actually it's something that we see quite often in a number of projects, a number of BIM projects that aren't implemented properly. However, company B takes a slightly different approach. They recognize the importance of collaboration. BIM is about collaborating with your partners, and they engage all stakeholders and parties right from the outset of the project. So they bring on board their facilities manager, their O&M function within the organization. They also invite contractors, design consultants, to come on board and share their ideas, and through doing that, they develop a comprehensive set of employers' requirements tailored to their needs, and making sure that the model contains the right level of information for its intended purpose, which is eventually a 30 to 40, 50-year facilities management cycle. They go ahead and they realize that to enable the collaboration, they're going to employ a design and build contract, which enables better communication between all parties and functions. And they ensure that the model is shared in a common data environment that enables all parties to have access to it and to review it. And in doing so, they develop what we call a project information model. This means that in collaboration between the design and contractors, they can work collaboratively and build a model once, so that it's not having to be redesigned or subject to abortive work. Finally, through doing that, they recognize efficiencies in program. They can tailor the model to carry out specific uses, such as sustainability or lead analysis for their hotel, to make sure that comfort levels and energy levels will be maintained throughout the life of the asset. And through that, they achieve cost and program benefits. Now, we're working hard at Atkins to support our clients, whether they be contractors, fellow consultants, or end users, to really drive the benefits of BIM and have the success story that is that Company B has experienced. So as I mentioned earlier, it's about people, process, and technology. But as you can see from that small anecdote that I've given, it really is about people, BIM. BIM is all about collaboration and discipline, making sure that processes that are agreed up front are followed, and that throughout the supply chain, if certain companies don't have the capability, that they're supported, that training is provided. And this is really an area where the UK has seen benefits. They've introduced things like the Bentley Academy on Crossrail, the project that we've been involved in the UK. And that's had a massive difference in upskilling the whole industry and making sure that everyone is driven in the same direction. Very powerful in unlocking the benefits of BIM. And we can't underestimate the use of technology in doing this. A common data environment, making sure that communication between parties is not one way, it's not duplex, but it's a one-to-many communication. So all parties work using one common source of truth. And we do this using globally recognized standards, the BS 1192 standard, which I'm happy to elaborate further after the discussion. And this really is about pushing information into a shared area and enabling all parties to have access to that area and to models as and when they need it. So you probably hear a lot about BIM, forward 3D, 4D, 5D. This is quite important. It's important to understand what you want to use the model for. If driving down costs during construction is the key, then it would be good to do a quantification analysis and probably even a 5D, a cost analysis. Or if it's looking at the efficiency, energy efficiency, you'd do simulations as part of your 3D analysis. Or you could look at the construction and the asset management benefits, which, as I mentioned earlier, have real life cycle advantages and benefits. So I've summarized these just to explain a little bit about what all of these D aspects are of BIM. Now, BIM needn't be just limited to new greenfield projects. We can also utilize it on existing assets, and we tend to do this for renovations where there's an extension to a facility. And what the technologies we're now using for that are 3D laser scanning, where we go through a period of a process of capturing data, point cloud data, and converting it to a 3D model. And that enables us to analyze and do a number of detailed assessments on the model. And this video that you're just going to see here is an example of a 3D scan to BIM that we did for Heathrow Airport. They had a 200-meter long service tunnel that was inaccessible and very difficult to arrange maintenance in. So they commissioned us to actually do a laser scan, which you see on the right-hand side. This is the point cloud data, and we converted it to the 3D model that you see on the right-hand side. We also included sensors and did some analysis to enable them to do predictive maintenance in this area, which would reduce the amount of visits to the actual area. And that's introduced a massive cost saving to their operation. BIM can also be used for construction. Many of the leading companies now are doing what you call documents to field or information to field, using data points or point cloud data to actually transmit information and data back to the design office. So we can actually validate a model, validate it against on-site activity and transmit that back, which is proving to introduce massive savings and efficiencies and ensuring that that final model is fit for purpose and reflects the as-built condition. Digital technologies really are essential to driving and unlocking the benefits of BIM and of the ongoing asset. And this is where the UK government, through their BIM Level 2 mandate and going on to their Level 3 mandate, are really looking to achieve those benefits of BIM. This is why they're fully behind it. And it's about merging BIM with asset management and digital technologies to reduce cost over the life of the asset. Something that here in the Middle East we're challenged with low oil prices. And it's something we're trying to introduce to help our clients to still deliver projects, but efficiently. And we achieve this through the asset information model. This is about taking those BIM models and integrating them with various enterprise systems, whether that be your ICT system, your SCADA or building management system, your smart technology, smart meters, which can also be connected to the asset information model, and your cost management systems as well, ERP. This is all of this combined can really drive some efficiencies. Also, with your Maximo system, you can have cost information integrating with your Maximo and into your asset information model, so that on one platform you can access a lot of information. And I'll show you a live example of this. This is an asset information model that we developed with a partner called Ecodomus. And you can go into your asset management system. In here, for instance, a Maximo system, you will identify that there's a problem with the AC control. So you can pick up and gather data from the components that are at fault and extract a lot of information direct from your Maximo system, and then zone in on the actual asset at fault. Now, it can also provide you with cost information taken from your ERP system. And if it's connected to other systems, such as your building management system, you can use it to also carry out predictive maintenance. In some cases, the system can test itself. This is something that we're now moving into and supporting our clients with, and we're currently working with clients such as Dubai airports to really leverage this potential and drive their operational costs down. Another area is augmented reality. What we're doing with a number of clients is we're helping them to put or place a QR code on their title block. And this enables them to pick up, through using a simple application on an iPad or phone, and a 3D representation of the actual drawing. And through this, they can then undertake asset inspections. They can go in and do a walkthrough of the asset. This is a technology we're now utilising. It's very useful for engaging the maintenance and FM teams during the construction phase of a project, so they can point out areas and raise their concerns or comments and feed that back to the design teams. So we're using this to really gain information, again, working in collaboration with FM teams and O&M teams to really drive benefits. Now, I've sped up the presentation, and I've actually got to the end sooner than I thought. I'm still within time, I presume. Thank you. But to conclude, it's all about developing a roadmap to drive the benefits, as I mentioned earlier. Think about Company B. It's important to have that BIM roadmap. And what does that look like? Well, it's about having an overall strategy, and it starts with the owner. It really does. You have to start with the end in mind and take a look at what is it that you want to achieve. So assess what are your goals, and whether that be an asset owner or whether it be a contractor, what do you actually want to achieve? Is it driving down costs? Is it reducing maintenance and O&M costs? Is it achieving a project or delivering a project in a tight timescale? These are all the things to map out and identify first and tailor the solution accordingly. Then it's about developing a BIM execution plan with standards, methods and procedures that can be followed by everyone on the project, and making sure that there's that consistency in place. Once those methods and procedures are in place, it's the discipline, making sure that we stick by them, that we monitor them, and that we improve them. They're not written in stone, but they're improved and continually assessed. And finally, BIM adoption is important, making sure that, as I mentioned earlier, all parties on the project, all parties in the organisation are involved as key stakeholders. And this may involve training, development, because it's to everyone else's benefit. If one party is carrying another, we all lose out. So it's important that everybody achieves or has that level of development going forward. I'd like to thank you for your time, and will I take questions now or later? Questions later on. Thank you very much.